your flesh and blood.
And welcome to the Body of Health on Tell Me Your Story. I'm Reverend Dr. D, and welcome back, Dennis. It's great to have you with us here on the program. Dennis Henson, my co-host, and we are glad you've tuned in today, and we have a fantastic, life-changing show that is lined up for you. So, Dennis, what questions will we be answering today?
Well, thank you, Richard. I really appreciate you having me. Welcome to all our listeners. This week is going to be really good. We're going to focus on how I recovered from having stroke after stroke after stroke, how I took control of my health, the steps that I used to do that, and to strengthen the steps I used to strengthen each organ and create a shield against disease and build a smoothly running machine so that all of my systems and organs are working together. I'm going to share that with you so you can put those same 39 habits into place and change your health. Well, before we get started, we need to mention that neither of us are doctors. We haven't had any medical experience. We're just speaking from our personal experience and the studies that we've done. So you should certainly go and seek your own medical advice before doing any of the things that we recommend.
We are going to pick up where we left off in our last program, having to do with helping you to move through. We have 39 elements in the Body of Health Longevity Shield. We went through the first two pillars. That's right. There are 4 or 5 pillars here, I believe. Matter of fact, there are actually 6 pillars. It's an interesting table, Dennis. It's a very interesting design, but I love it. And we're going to pick it up here with the physical movement and body maintenance and talk about moving constantly.
That's right. It's important. Your body wasn't built to be still. If you be still, your muscles start to atrophy. You won't live very much longer. So knowing that, you should make plans to move around as much as you possibly can. My answer to that is walking. I love to walk with my dog, and I kind of have a mixture. You mentioned that you have the rebounder and that sometimes you use it, sometimes you don't. Well, if you walk every day, let's say that if you go to bodyofhealth.life, there is an app there you can download for free. It's called Steps. And it tells you exactly how many steps you walk that day. It'll also give you a track record of yesterday and back, forever. If you have a streak that goes back 2 or 3 years, it'll take you all the way back to the beginning of your streak. You can set your goal on it. Not trying to sell anything. It's just a free app, and it's really very useful. Yeah. So let's say you set your goal at 8,500 steps, which I understand is perfect. 8,500 steps a day, that's several miles. But what if it rains like it rained yesterday? I was walking yesterday, and it just came down. I mean, it was pouring, and Cooper didn't like it much. So we went home, and I still needed a couple of thousand steps. So we just I hopped on the rebounder. Cooper barks at me, but I got on the rebounder and then completed my steps. Well, that did 2 things. Not only did it help me with the movement and staying constantly moving, it also helped with my lymphatic system. It kept the fluid flowing, and the lymphatic system kept the fluid in the brain flowing. So you should make it a habit for at least once or twice a week to do the rebounding, but every single day you should try to make it a habit to walk the steps. Now, having an animal helps you live longer too, and it also, you have to walk the dog, so it helps you with the habit. Yeah. And my dog gets so excited, it makes me happy because he loves to walk and chase squirrels. And it's funny though, we have ducks. We're close to a lake, and the ducks He walks up to, he doesn't even get excited when he sees a duck. He runs squirrels, he runs other birds, it's anything that moves people, he goes crazy, but not with the ducks. He just looks at them like, oh, well, they're supposed to be here. I don't know why that is, but I think it's interesting.
I think there's some agreement there that if you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. And by the way, when it comes to the rebounding, I only a few times have used it since we've gotten it. However, when I'm bouncing on that thing, the cats are watching me. Then when I am done, they get on it and just lay there. They lay on the rebounder.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating as all get out. And I have to tell you regarding walking and rebounding, and I sit here, especially when it comes to not wanting to be sedentary. I made a commitment to myself years ago when I first got into this business, and I started seeing some of the guys in radio, the DJs and so forth, and how some of them really had that belly that we were talking about earlier in the previous program. And I'm going, oh my Lord, that means that they don't get up much. And so when I sit here and I'm doing programs or I'm doing my interviews or whatever it is that I happen to be doing on the computer, I'm sitting here going, I've got to finish this up. I got to get up. Because I feel the draw to go upstairs where all the windows are, where the sunlight is coming in. And if I can get out on the front deck or the back deck and just get into that sunlight, that is a huge thing for me to do. That's important to me. I'll sit out there with my morning clarity coffee. Right now, sunrise is around 6:30, 7 o'clock. And that works out great because I usually get up around 6 and go make my coffee, go sit out there, and then the sun is coming up and so forth. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the wintertime when there's snow around and it's dark at 6 o'clock in the morning, but we'll figure that out. But to me, that's real important. And another part of this too, and I feel very strongly about this, unintended, ladies and gentlemen, is the whole area of doing strength training. I have a bicycle, but I haven't really gotten on it much. And I do need to, even if it's just on a flat surface, if you will, to just go up and down or put it on the bike rack. And we go out to the lake and there's a path around it and I bicycle around the path. I don't want my muscles, because I would think it's possible for them to even atrophy if I just continue to sit here and sit here and sit here. So strength training, that's important.
It is, yes. It builds your muscles. Your muscles are different from the other organs of your body. You can continue to build muscles throughout your entire life. So it's also good for longevity. People who do strength training live longer. Just for that reason, that's a good idea to make that a habit. Stretching and balancing is also important. They improve flexibility and mobility. But if you want to know some good stretches and balances, just go to Facebook and look for Body of Health. I have both a page and a group there. I post the same things. And there's some really great balance exercises and some good stretches that you can do. And to tell you the truth, I put those up there for myself. Mm-hmm. I'll see something on Facebook. I think, oh man, that's really good. I want to remember that. So I'll put it on Body of Health and I can go back and find it. And I'm sharing it with the whole world at the same time. So it's kind of a double whammy.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you, it is, I could not be a stronger advocate in terms of taking care of the physical aspects. Again, the strength training. There's also this element of stretching and balancing. And it's interesting, one of my favorite things to do first thing in the morning when I get up, and our animals are doing it all the time. When we had dogs and with the cats, all of our cats, when they would stretch, I mean, they would either push off on their hind legs or push off on their front legs and stretch backwards. And man, we need to be doing that. So I'll get there and I'll just reach as high as I can, even if I'm just sitting. Boy, that feels good.
Absolutely. Also, practicing good posture is important too. And every time I look at that, I sit up straight because when your posture is correct, you're getting more oxygen throughout your body. If you're slumped over, you pushed your lungs in, and you're restricting the amount of oxygen. And oxygen is very important. So good posture is a great habit. If you don't have the habit of at least once a day. I have scoliosis, which means my posture is normally bad.
Mm-hmm.
But by pushing against that, it helps my overall health, and it improves the flow of your blood and how much oxygen you get to all the parts of your body.
You know, my wife is on me about my posture sometimes because I normally I walk fast. When I'm walking, I walk fast. When I walk with her, I'm walking certainly much slower. She's on my arm to give her stability, but she's up and about and so forth.
Mhm.
But I tend to lean forward. And if I walk too slowly, as opposed to the quick pace I normally have, then I tend to lean forward in my upper body, which is not good. So you need to stand up straight, stand up, sit up straight, and so forth. And at first it was a little irritating thing. Well, I know how to sit. I know how to, hey, I can't see myself. I'm not looking in a mirror. So I take those words to heart, and I straighten myself up, because the last thing I want, I love my dad, but I did not care much for his little curving question mark look as he got closer to and got into his 90s. And a lot of older folks, they get that question mark. So posture is real important. Another
Well,
element, go ahead.
you mentioned something there that's important. I just read an article a couple of weeks ago that said people who walk faster live longer. So you're automatically doing something that's good for your longevity.
Oh, cool. All natural. I love that. It's instinctive, I guess. Another element I hope is instinctive for some folks has to do with practicing oral health. And we are constantly talking about our version of AI, which is anti-inflammation, if you will. And that's kind of what we're talking about here with practicing oral health, aren't we?
Exactly. If you have bad oral health, it's terrible for your heart. It really is. Your heart seems to be connected to here. And there's lots of course, you're putting all this food and stuff in your body all the time. There's lots of bad bacteria in your mouth. So you need to practice oral health. A water pick is invaluable. I use a water pick, and I put hydrogen peroxide in there and put that around, which goes in and attacks the bad bacteria. And then, of course, you need to brush after every meal. Mouthwash is really bad for you. I mean, mouthwash is really not something you should do. If you're going to use mouthwash, use hydrogen peroxide. Now, I saw a post the other day. Some posts are not good. And this person was saying, if you want to improve your overall health, inhale hydrogen peroxide mist. Well, that might work and it may not.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more than one kind of hydrogen peroxide. There's a 1%, there's a 3%, and then there's food grade, which is 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I used to work in a facility where we had drums of hydrogen peroxide, and they wouldn't let you in the room. It was that dangerous. I had the key to every room in the whole facility. I was a facility manager, but I couldn't even go in that room because it was so dangerous.
Yeah.
If you put your finger in 100% hydrogen peroxide, when you pull it out, it's just a bone.
Oh,
That's how, corrosive it is. It'll just eat your flesh. So do not inhale 30% hydrogen peroxide. You may not live very much longer.
right.
So I wouldn't inhale hydrogen peroxide at all, but I gargle with it all the time, and it's the 3%.
Right.
If I'm getting a cold, and I don't really get colds, but if I feel one coming on, the first thing I do is go get the hydrogen peroxide and gargle really deep with that, put alcohol in my nose, and then I have these 10 things that I take, and it just knocks the cold out almost immediately.
Well, it's interesting how you managed to take us to our our last element in pillar 3, and that has to do with deep breathing. And my favorite that I've done a few times is that what is it? That 721 breathing exercise that you talk about. Talk to us about this whole aspect of deep breathing.
It's 521.
521. Okay.
Right. You start by taking a deep breath for 5 counts. Now be careful. I didn't say 5 seconds. I said 5 counts. So, you breathe through your nose, and pull it in as much as you can for 5, and then you breathe and you hold for 6. Breathe in for 5, hold for 6, then you blow out through your mouth for 7. Then you hold for 8. Then you breathe in for 9, hold for 10, breathe out, and you just keep doing that until you get to 21. Now, when you do the first 3, you're going to think, I'm never going to be able to do 21, but you can. You just force yourself to do it, and you learn to count really fast.
Either that, or there's another way too, and that is to work on your breath control.
Right.
That's another way. Count fast and you work on your breath control. I remember the first time I did it, Dennis. I was shocked. I was surprised. I made it to 21.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is doable. And we certainly encourage you to try that or any other method. But again, to oxygenate the cells, calm the system, to just feel good. And to me, the aspect of that deep breathing with the stretching, oh yeah, even now that feels so good. I got to tell you, what also feels good is to tell our listeners and viewers, Dennis, that a lot of what we're talking about here, most everything is available at bodyofhealth.life. And you can go there directly or go through DennisJHenson.com, click on .com, click on the health tab. And on that page, the health page, you're going to find a number of links. One will take you to the Body of Health group on Facebook, all right, where you can share your experiences, learn something from other folks who are doing the same thing you are doing, working on their health and well-being and helping to increase their longevity and quality of life. You can also, of course, click on the link that'll take you to bodyofhealth.life, where you can find many of the things that we talk about, put them in your grocery cart. And if you'd like to get 20% off, it's so easy. When you're in the checkout stand, so to speak, there's a field there, a coupon field or a code field that you put in radio, RADIO, and you get 20% off. And then back at the health page on DennisJHenson.com, you continue scrolling down, and you are going to find everything we've been talking about on this series, all the way back to the very first program we did that had to do with the Fountain of Youth drink, which we mentioned at the end of our last program. Certainly hope that you will partake of that as we continue here on the Body of Health on Tell Me Your Story. Reverend Dr. D and Dennis Henson, and of course, a reminder, we are not doctors. And if you're watching the video, you see that, please consult your physician at the bottom of the screen because it's very important to make sure that there are no contraindications. I mean, all of the things that if we're in good health, Dennis, all of these things are probably just fine. Go ahead and dive in and participate or incorporate as many of the 39 items we're going to talk about here into your lifestyle, into your diet, into your protocol. I've got high blood sugar that comes and goes, and I'm working on that. It's getting better and better every day. Obviously, for me, I know the movement is very important. I've got to keep moving around because I used to bicycle everywhere until I was in my late 30s, right? And I drank sodas like they were going out of style. But when I'd have my blood work checked, I had no high blood sugar. And it was because I was bicycling all over Phoenix. I was burning it off. And then when I started driving, guess what? I stopped burning it off. So it's really important to do that. We are now going to go to pillar number 4, and that has to do with environmental therapies as well as recovery. And we're going to start with getting plenty of quality sleep. And I don't know about you, Dennis. I'll go to sleep around 11, sometimes even midnight, and I just naturally wake up at 6 a.m. I don't need the alarm clock. I wake up, and it's not the cats. It's like I wake up and I need to get up. So let's talk about how important it is to get plenty of quality sleep.
Well, Richard, you're very lucky because a lot of people are not able to do that. They have difficult time sleeping. There's some articles on the website about how to help to correct that. But you need to get your sleep. Some people say, well, I can operate on 3 or 4 hours of sleep. Maybe you can, but over the long term, that's not really good for you because your sleep is the time that your body does the deep cellular healing.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for rest and healing to take place. And if you don't do that, you, you get you miss out on some things that your body really needs. You don't give it the chance to do the kind of healing and necessary and building the defenses that the body needs to keep away the bad things. So maybe somebody says, oh, I can get by on 2 or 3 hours of sleep. And then all of a sudden, 10 years later, they have cancer and they never make the connection. Or maybe they have Alzheimer's. Those are the kinds of things that happen. So you're not trying to solve the next day.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to solve your life
Yeah.
and your overall health and longevity.
Well, I know that I'm not going to be taking anything to help me to sleep. If that's just my body doing its thing, I'm not going to fight it. At the same time, there's all these other elements too, where, and it's best epitomized by a song by John Denver, that sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. And that's why I love getting up out of the first floor to the second floor, out the front door, stand out in the street and stand in the sunshine. That's very important about getting sunlight exposure, Dennis.
Yes, and that's easy to do if you've already formed the habit of walking 8,500 steps every day because you're going to get plenty of sun. You only need about 30 minutes a day to get 50,000 IUs. But so many people work inside
Yeah.
and then they come out and they get in their car and they go home and they get in air conditioning, watch TV, have dinner, go to bed. And the next thing you know, the day's over and they didn't get the sunlight they needed. Well, if you absolutely have to miss a day, you still need the vitamin D3. And you need to take quite a bit of it, in my personal opinion. Okay. If you get your sunlight, then you've got your vitamin D3. So I kind of try to balance, if I'm not able to be in the sun, let's say maybe I'll walk the steps, but it was overcast. I increased the D3. So you got it. The first thing that they did when I had a stroke was give me 50,000 units of D3. If an ambulance comes to give you, to pick you up, and you had a heart attack, first thing they're going to do is give you 50,000 units of D3. Well, I want to have it before the ambulance gets there. I want to have it in my body, when it's needed. So that's the reason that I put that in there.
Well, I know that there are a couple of other elements here, and one in particular you can do while you are outside, either getting the sunlight,
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. And that has to do with what's called grounding. And if you have a space like I do, but it's on a hill, so it's a little challenging, but not impossible, to put my bare feet on the bare ground. If you got grass, it's even better, and and so forth. But talk to us about the importance of grounding to the place that sustains us.
Well, if you're inside, you're walking on carpet or something that is buffering you from the ground. Or if you are walking outside and you have plastic or rubber shoe soles, it's hard to get leather shoe soles anymore, but those are buffering you from the ground. Well, why do you need to touch the ground? Well, there's two reasons. One is the earth has a magnetic charge, magnetic vibrations. And when you touch your bare feet on the ground, it helps your body get in line with those vibrations. And it's also an electrical charge. And when you put your feet on the ground, you get the electrical charge. Now, you don't have to stand there for 30 minutes to get the electrical charge. It's instant. You
Right.
put your bare feet on the ground and bam, your the electrical charge lines lined up. For the vibrations to take, they take a little bit more time. But you don't have to walk for a long distance. You can, every morning when I get up, I let my dog out. I go out with my dog. I take off my shoes, or maybe they're already off, and I do my grounding while my dog's doing his business.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at the sunlight to get my circadian rhythm in place so that I'll be more apt to want to go to sleep when it's time. So anyway, grounding is important. There's lots of information on it. You can do a lot more with it, but I suggest that you do some research.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this next element you'll find in your home quite often when you go to your sink, and you'll find hot and cold running water. Well, here we're talking about cold exposure therapy, and then there's the sauna and or heat therapy. Let's talk a little bit about those, we'll call them those extremes that we would induce, that we would want, as opposed to what a lot of people are experiencing in the summertime, just a little too warm outside to do much of anything. And then when it gets real cold, it's a little too cold to do anything outside. So let's talk about these therapies.
Well, they're similar to doing physical exercise. We said we want to do exercise for our muscles. Well, both of these things shock your system, and they make your system react. Your blood flows. You react to, if you get in a cold shower. Okay, the easiest way to get in a cold shower is to turn on the shower and just walk in and shut the door, and then you're there. Your body's going to start to adjust, and in a few seconds, it won't hurt so bad. It's just that initial shock that's good for you. It's good for you. It tells your body, hey, you're alive. And something cold is trying to freeze you. And so your blood starts flowing and things start changing. And that's a good thing. The same way with the sauna. When I was first getting healing from the stroke, I found out people who do sauna 4 times a week live 20% longer. And that's when I put the sauna in my house. I got one so that it's easy to get to. Sauna therapy. And when I go, my wife and I like to travel. We go to all-inclusives, and they usually have a spa. And my 2 biggest complaints with the spa, the sauna's not hot enough and the cold dip's not cold enough. And I'll complain about it. I'll just say, look, we're paying a lot of money for this. And I want that sauna to be hot, and I want that cold dip to be cold, so I get the benefit from it. The sauna helps detoxify because, and you can also get this from walking on a hot day, it forces you to sweat. I used to not sweat. I thought, hey, this is great. I can get outside and everybody else is sweating and I'm not sweating, but that was really not good. If you don't sweat, that's very unhealthy. It's not good for your thyroid. It's not good for you. It's just really not good for your body. So once I started doing the sauna, I cleaned out my pores. I got my sweat glands to working properly. And now when I go outside and walk in the sun, I sweat like everybody else. And I'm 1,000 times more healthy because my body is being able to get the bad things that I inhaled, the bad things that I ate, the bad things that I touched to my skin, getting those detoxified.
Well, it's important, and all of these are important. We hope that you can incorporate them into your life, folks. These protocols, these 39 items that we're going to continue talking about. But first, I want to remind you that this is the Body of Health. Bodyofhealth.life is the website where you can find many of the things that we talk about. And you can also find the articles. You can find the information at dennisjhenson.com. Go to the health tab, scroll down, and it will be listed there as far as the longevity protocols and so forth as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. DennisJHenson.com. That's the website we encourage you to go to. It's sort of the catch-all, but we're going to jump back in here. We're now at pillar number 5. Like I said, this is an unusual table, Dennis, with 6 legs or 6 pillars, but it works. And I'll tell you what, 4, that's good. You have another 2 legs on this table, and that's a pretty darn stable table. And the pillar number 5 has to do with measurement and monitoring in particular, and I do this fairly regularly, optimized blood pressure. Why is it important to monitor that on a daily basis?
Well, if you're not checking your blood pressure consistently, it can get out of hand really fast. And you can end up with a heart attack or a stroke. The first symptom of a heart attack is usually death.
Mm.
You don't want to find out that way.
No.
It's much easier to check your blood pressure consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And if it gets up, above 150, or whatever your doctor says your bad place is, you need to do something about it. And what I do, if my blood pressure gets a little bit high, I just increase the nitrous oxide. Now, it's nitric oxide, I'm sorry. I increase the nitric oxide and it brings the blood pressure down immediately. That may work for you, it may not. It's L-arginine and citrulline combination. And it tastes good. It's just a drink. You mix it with your drink and drink it. I also have, because I've had a stroke, I have a prescription for blood pressure medicine. I stopped taking it the second day because it was making me sick, but I keep the prescription filled so that if my blood pressure ever goes above 170, I will take the blood pressure medicine. But I've only had to do it, I think, twice in the last 8 years. So that nitric oxide works for me.
Well, I know that in combination with that, the issue, especially as I've shared on this program many times, maybe too many, along with the blood pressure, there's also blood sugar. I find that interesting that those two items, I don't know of any other measurements within the body as far as testing that can fluctuate literally throughout the day. Whereas most of the other stuff, like if you were going to have blood work done, that's usually pretty consistent for, a day or two or three or four or five, depending upon, your diet and all those kinds of things. But that's important too, to control blood sugar, right?
It absolutely is. I don't eat sugar. I try to avoid it as much as possible. But sometimes you get it, didn't expect it. You ate something, had sugar in it, you didn't realize it, but you start to get the feeling. Now, once you stop eating sugar altogether, you can smell it and you can feel it. Once you've eaten some sugar you didn't expect, you get a feeling, oh my goodness, my blood sugar is too high because I feel weird. Now, it's easy to correct that. You use your solar plex muscles and your lower muscles. You can either just get up on your tiptoes 100 times, or you can do deep squats. Either one of those things are a pump. It's just like pumping the sugar out of your body. And it doesn't take long, 5, 6, 7 minutes, you feel great and the sugar's gone. That's something you need to keep in mind so that when it happens to you, it's a habit. You take care of it. You don't just ignore it.
And all of this comes under the category. And for some folks, I'm not a fan, but I do it. And that is to make sure to get regular medical checkups with whoever your healthcare practitioner or professional is in order to keep an eye on these things. Dennis, let's talk a little bit about that. And one of the other beautiful things, Dennis, is that you don't need a prescription for a blood pressure cuff. And I don't know that you have to have one for a blood monitor, a blood sugar monitor. But what about this aspect of getting regular, I don't know, every twice a year, I guess they say, medical checkups?
Well, it's just a good idea to do that. It's a good habit to have. People that give them that people who are married live longer because their wife insists that they do the medical checkup.
Yep.
So it must work.
Yep.
And I just thought that's a pretty good habit to put in, and my wife insisted I do that, so that's one of the habits that went on the
Well,
list.
I know my wife is that way too, and I'm on her as well because you know, she has her own health issues as I do have mine. So we encourage you to do that, as well as continue listening to Tell Me Your Story. This is the Body of Health series. Bodyofhealth.life is the website. Please go there, check it out as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the final pillar 6, and it has to do with mind, emotion, and community. So important, all three of those. So let's start by talking about focusing on health.
By focusing on health, let's say, make it a goal to be as healthy as you can possibly be and focus on it every day. Do something every day. Form the habit of doing something every day that leads you toward the goal of longevity and being healthy while you're living longer. That means you're going to read an article or listen to a YouTube or anything that's going to improve your mental ability, ideas. One thing that you can do is just go to this list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every day until you have formed all these habits, just make this list, print it out, put it in your pocket and say, which one of these am I going to add to my list of habits today? That's a great idea.
Absolutely. Another great idea is to do that because it will help you to control stress if you stay off your screen, your device, looking at what's going on in the world. Let's talk a little bit about this aspect of controlling stress.
Well, one of the things the doctor told me when I was having my strokes is you cannot have any stress in your life. He told that to my wife. He said, if you want to die, then, you live in a stressful situation. So you need to learn to deal with things, protect yourself from getting too excited about many things to protect your heart. And read about how to control stress and read about what supplements and things that you need to add to your supplements to make sure that your body is not always in a stress position. You're going to have some stress. You can't avoid it, but you need to try to avoid it as much as you possibly can.
And one of the ways to avoid stress, or at least to manage it, if you will, or to minimize it, is meditation.
Yes, meditation reduces anxiety, helps you clear your mind from worry. And it's just good to settle down and relax and just think of good things. That's very healthy.
And in that context, thinking of good things, thinking of what you're grateful for. Let's talk about being grateful.
Yes, I call it vitamin G. Lowers your blood pressure, makes you feel better. People like you a lot better. And that's being grateful. So make a list of the things that you appreciate in your life. I had an employee come in one time and say, God just don't love me. He treating me bad. And I said, well, you have your hand, don't you? Can I have your hand? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, if I take your hand, would you be unhappy? He said, you can't have my hand. I said, so you're grateful for your hand and your foot, you're alive.
Yeah.
God must have cared something. You can see, you can feel, you have a friend, and I'm your friend. And so everybody has something, or they should have something that they can be grateful for. The air they breathe, this program that tells you how you can live longer and feel better. Then make a list and go over those when you start to feel bad.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm grateful for my new nephew, my brother's son. Found out just the other day that in the testing, because it's in our family, in our genes, the visual issues. Well, it turns out he had cataracts. Well, they took care of that. Now, they have different medical facilities in Vietnam than they do here in the States, but nonetheless, we are in the 21st century, and he's going to be all right. And then, of course, the other thing, too, is, hey, I was born in 1960. I had bilateral cataracts. Look how I turned out, okay? So how much better is this kid going to be So I'm grateful for him. And I'm hoping one day to get to meet him. May have to fly to Vietnam, but nonetheless, another element is having and developing. If you don't have it, develop what I consider myself a very positive person, a positive mental attitude.
That's right. Look for the good in every situation. Always try to be happy. Like Abraham Lincoln said, a fellow's about as happy as he makes up his mind to be. So
Mm.
make up your mind to be happy. You have a choice. You can be happy or you can be sad. It's a choice.
Yeah.
Sometimes things happen and make you sad, but if you think of pleasant things, you can't be sad at the same time. So it's like Peter Pan. The reason Peter Pan could fly was because he thought wonderful thoughts. And that's kind of an allegory,
Yeah.
a simile
And
to real life.
yeah. And this one, staying purposefully occupied with meaningful life goals, though these aren't exactly life goals. Taking on these DIY projects with this new home we have, I got to tell you, I love that. It's just so much fun. So that to me, that's a major goal, but it's cut up into tiny little pieces, and I love doing them.
Yes, so many people look forward to retirement. And I told my wife, my best friend's name was Paul Ramsey, and he was a band director. And it his retirement age came and he retired. And I told my wife, I said, he probably won't live 5 more years. And in 4 years, he was dead.
No.
You're not set up to do nothing. You're set up, your mind and your body's set up to be doing something. So if you can find something that you enjoy doing and you can fill your life with doing that, your chances of being healthy and living longer are multiplied greatly.
Absolutely. And another one is keeping your mind young. And there is a practice there, a protocol to doing that, isn't there?
Yes, always be learning new things, complex skills. Maybe you learn to play golf or learn to play tennis or learn to play chess or learn a new business. This is, to me, this body of health's a new business, and it's complex, and there's an awful lot to it, and I enjoy it a lot. So I'm learning something new about it every single day. And you can do whatever you like. Find something that you really like that's a complex skill and just continue to do it.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's incredible. And then the last one, believe it or not, this is number 39, folks. Foster strong community bonds. And I'm going to share this real briefly. Moved into this neighborhood October 12th of 2025. And I thought for sure we would have a few neighbors, that we would be getting to know. Yes, when they walk by, walking their dogs or jogging, that kind of stuff, and I'm sitting out on the deck, hey, good morning, and they'll say, hey, good morning, how you doing? I'll say, I'm doing great, how about you? And they'll say, doing great, as they are passing. But we're still waiting to have some visitors come in. I don't know, maybe we have a housewarming. That may be the thing to do, to open up and connect socially. Very important.
Right. And a social connection doesn't have to be someone that just lives next door. Maybe you can go to a community center, go to a dance,
Yep.
a church. It's just being connected with people in the world.
Yeah.
The more connections that you have and the more people and friends that you have, the more healthy you're going to be, and you're helping them be healthy also.
And I'll tell you what, despite that aspect thus far, and again, I know it's going to change, because I will change it. We'll be out there meeting people. It's a beautiful place. We love living here. I love living here, doing these things and experiencing what we're experiencing. And Dennis, I love continuing to do these programs. They're just so much fun to do, and I'm learning a lot, and it reinforces in my mind and in my heart what I need to do to keep myself moving forward. And it's also gratifying to know when we hit all these 39. Oh, I'm already doing some of these. Oh man, I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Well, thank you for allowing us to do this. I always look forward to it too. It's a big part of my week to do the research and put these together, and then I get to share it on my website so that everybody has an opportunity to go and learn from what I've put together.
Well, remember, your daily habits dictate your health, folks. And one of them can be listening every week to Body of Health right here on Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World. And until our next broadcast, podcast, video cast, love to all. Jeanette, I'm still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Smokey, I will see you on the other side. Mike, thanks for being in my life and letting me be in yours. And welcome to this new world, my dear nephew, Coy, and to my dear friend, Zorro. Aho, aho.